Hey folks, this is Ben Gessel for a little bit of an evening walk here. I had a new student tonight. Um, I want to tell you about uh, how the first lesson went. And the first lesson went well, but yeah, it's not like I haven't had new students before that were all that much different than this situation. But let's go this way, I guess. Yes. So a lot of times, I teach a lot of beginners, a fair number of beginners and intermediates in the past, and even some more advanced students of all ages that pretty much a slam dunk. I'm teaching them. You know, this particular student's parents were both professional musicians on some level. One was a choir person, the other person, the dad was a choir guy, and then the mom was a pianist actually as well. So I'm trying to. So no pressure. No pressure. The thing is I know what I do best, and I still do piano. I still play piano very well. But I've been paid before. I have been paid for my services before on the piano. I'll put it that way. But the thing is wow. I mean, so this particular student is a teenage student. He's a good kid. I liked him right off the bat. But I'm gonna wait for this car. I don't know. So I'm gonna go down this way. I think I'm not wearing my stupid mask anymore. I just got my COVID-19 shot today, by the way. My second one. So I am good to go, unless some place or somebody requires me to have my mask on. Still, I'm not wearing my mask. You kidding me? I hate those things. But I'm not gonna get COVID-19. I mean, I don't care. Oh, you still might get COVID-19 if you have the second shot. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Come on. I am very, 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 very far from being an old man. Even when I get to be 70 years old, I'm still going to be in great shape. I'm not going to be old. I won't be old until I'm 90. Especially with how my diet has been this last year and probably for the rest of my life, pretty much so. No, I just, anyway, this new student, good boy, good young man. His parents are, be honest, it's a teensy bit. They're good. They're good parents. I like the parents a lot, but it is a teensy bit intimidating, or just that they're hearing. They hear a bit more than they hear a bit more than your average parents, which is good. Which is good. I am the paid professional here. I need to be on my A game, especially with my more advanced students. But here's the thing: when you're playing, let me back up here. I parents want to know what your skill level, what your real skill level is at, and they can only, and very few of them have ever wanted to hear me play. I think like these guys have, but they weren't trying to put too much pressure on me. But the thing is I don't think they mentioned to me before the lesson that they were going to assess my skill level on the piano. My actual, and what I was playing was just off the cuff. It was just It was my own stuff. It was just stuff that I've memorized somewhat. But it wasn't anything super grandiose, which would take quite a while to fully master if we're talking about some rather difficult music. No, a lot of music you think that it's difficult for me would not be difficult. I'm talking about hard stuff. That would be hard for me to play. I mean, like, it's not like, so it takes a while to get that stuff down your finger. So I'm pretty sure they're not asking me to play a complete concerto or something by Rachmaninoff. Certainly not Rachmaninoff, but, so I'm wondering, again, this is just one of those people things. It's like some people are very much easy to know what they want, what their expectations are right off the bat. It's easy to know when you come into a first music lesson what at someone's home, especially what's the expectation going to be. And all these things are very different, very, very different if the parents aren't even in the room. Ever since I've been teaching working with parents and whatever. So many teachers don't even do that. But since I do that, this is what I experience, and I think that these experiences are very good for me, to be honest. But so even if this goes south, which it might, I can't say it won't. I mean, I don't know for sure, because to be honest, if they're looking for a better pianist than me to teach their son, they're probably looking at somebody who has a grad degree in piano performance, to be honest. I mean, really. Professor level, or pushing that level, a community college piano instructor, that level of pianist. I am not very far away from that level of pianist, to be honest, even though my horn skills are definitely better than piano. But I am not a shabby pianist, not by any stretch of the imagination. But there are some types of music that would be extremely difficult for me to handle. Still doable. Anyway. Yes, I would like to have this student. I really would. But if I don't have him, it's not the end of the world. But something else that was interesting. So the parents, again, are very skilled musicians. I understand that maybe why they didn't explain everything they wanted right off the bat. Maybe they weren't sure themselves. Maybe they wanted to be diplomatic, or they were just wanting to, one of those things, let's get to know each other kind of thing. They had 3 lessons paid for. But again, everybody's a little different. It's like just life. You know somebody really well. You understand these people that you've worked with for really well, and you understand how they are, and then you, at some point, move on to some different folks that you're talking to more, or whatever it is, and you keep having these experiences where eventually, when you get really old, I suppose, you've talked to enough people that it kind of helps you mature more in life. And by the way, it is one of the things that sometimes actors have mentioned, like Jack Nicholson, where they talk to so many different kinds of people at younger ages so much and so quickly. They interact with so many people that it actually helps them mature more faster in some respects than it would for a lot of other folks. Makes one envious, I suppose, but at the same time, there's probably a lot of worldliness associated with that kind of maturity, which, if you catch my drift, not exactly like, we're not talking about necessarily super righteous kinds of behaviors or accommodations or perceptions, that sort of thing, if you catch my drift. So, but still, sure, it would be great if, you could have that life of meeting all kinds of people. But again, if you're introverted, not necessarily your cup of tea sort of thing, right? So, anyway, I'm thinking things will work out. I'm not, it's like sometimes people think you need to have you work with a teacher for years and years and years. Yeah, I've had some students that I've worked with for years and years and years. It doesn't always have to be that way. It could just be for a year. It could just be for a few years. It doesn't have to be for several years, 4 years. Some other things about this new student that hopefully I'll have. I'd like to be able to have a student. I'm wondering if I pass the point, if I lose a student like that, I'm past the point of crying about it. Or feeling especially down the dumps. I probably will feel somewhat down the dumps, but whatever. Not as... It always stings the most the first time you lose a more elite student in your own eyes. First, second, third, fourth time. After a while, it's like when you lose, even if you taught someone for a long time, if you lose that more elite student, it doesn't feel as bad. But, it's a beautiful night. The sky. I know I don't do enough nature-y types videos. See, the thing is, when everybody's out walking, I don't want to film them. I mean, I don't know, that's just the best way of putting it. Wow. The way I'd like to film stuff, the way I film stuff. Can I have your permission to see your face? No. Oh, therefore I have to edit my video, which I never edit videos. Just, who has the time, man? Oh, I know what you're thinking. I have plenty of time, right? This is just a side hobby, folks. I've mentioned this countless times before. Maybe at some point I might get more serious about it. Who knows? Anyway, but back to the student here. The parents, I kind of get how they are. And they're awesome, but they are musicians. So, hats off to them. They're awesome guys. Their son, though, very bright. One of my thoughts is that, a lot of times, it's just most teenagers that get more advanced levels, not just intermediate, I'm talking like advanced, they need to play more material, more stuff, just more stuff and lessons. My best piano student, we work on at least 3 different solos, at least 3, sometimes more, sometimes 4 or 5 solos, musical pieces, not just your etudes. I give her a fair bit of stuff to work on. It's not like one piece in an etude or something like that. No. And it's a variety of music. Always a variety. I am such a strong believer in that. You have got to expose students of more advanced levels especially more advanced levels, to different time signatures, different rhythms, syncopation and ties across the bar lines, mixed meter, key signature changes, up the yin yang, clef changes. You've got to do it, man. You have got to do it. And not only that stuff, but different types of music, different styles, different cultures, of course, pedal, non-pedal, different kinds of pedal, different kinds of staccato, accents, wrist motion, all the techniques, hands crossing over and under, all that stuff, all that finger stuff, all the wrist stuff, all the different trains of thought there, scales, repetitive scales, arpeggios, finger substitutions, I don't know. And then, there's all the nuancy stuff, getting better at interpreting music. This is very advanced stuff. Like, how are you going to play, not just Debussy, how are you going to play Ravel? How are you going to play Scriabin? Um, I don't know. Brahms is very emotional, but with this rubato stuff, it's not always a tempo issue. It's, well, it often involves any piece with rubato. It often involves where do you slow down, where do you speed up, where do you, how are you seeing this phrase, how are you playing this phrase, and why. But it doesn't have to be super academic or whatever it is. It's like it has to be right. It needs to be rhyme and reason, but that rhyme and reason starts to get really complex, hard to explain, emotional. But emotional often in a very highbrow way. Highbrow, sophisticated, and still very intellectual. Or it can get involved. It's often like historical performances, performance practice things that plays in there big time. Yeah, I still remember when I think I was doing a Ravel excerpt. I was just sight reading it for leveling up in my college brass stuff. It's I think 300 level or something like that, and I played a Ravel excerpt and I used vibrato, and trumpet instructor docked me for it. Why did I do that? I know it. You're not supposed to use vibrato for it, but this is just sight reading, man. It was just, there's a lot of things. I remember look back on all of my school experiences in undergrad, college, and so many times it's just, do what your teacher tells you to do, and you'll be okay, right? Well, maybe you'll be okay, right? It's definitely it's more advanced across the board. It's always a more advanced way of looking at anything when you don't just simply say, "Oh, I'll be okay if I just do what the teacher wants me to do." No, no, that's never the case. Especially, with all the critiques we've had of college and how college is, there's one thing that we know for certain. That's like rarely the case. If you only do the minimum required, let me put it this way. Yes, I would say American public schools, you get straight A's or near the straight A's, and you can hardly even work that hard at all. For the most part, there's a few classes that might push you a bit. In college really is kind of a random deal, and some colleges are pushing a lot more than others, but yeah. There's a lot to be said for simply just being like, what? Like, first off, what do you want? How does this apply to what I'm doing in the future? Like, I have any choice? Like, these curriculum things, right? And then and so if I get straight A's, does that mean I'm going to have a good paying job and guaranteed work and all? Like, my gosh, man, real life, or life after college is real life. I think I've done pretty well considering everything. I could still do a heck of a lot better, but it's like real life, man. I don't know. I just going back to my original train of thought here. It's going back to music lessons. It's very much I do think it's really vital for all my students to get a very well-rounded music education, because if you get really stinking good at these certain little things that I'm super good at teaching. Oh, see, that's nothing. I don't know. I have so many things to teach. I don't even know where to begin. But if you have a teacher who is extremely good at certain little things. That's all they teach, and there's a smaller number of those things. And that's all they ever teach all their students. Well, maybe that's a good thing, because maybe they're super good at those things. Maybe, what if they're just mediocre at those things? And it's often limiting the students. Or the students definitely need other teachers to balance out what they can do. Like a teacher that just practices your scales every single day for hours. They can play the scales lightning fast, 32nd notes, 64th notes, depending on the tempo and stuff. And they're very clean, impeccable finger technique that way. And arpeggios are amazing. And it's still just a few little techniques. There's still so much more going on. But that's still pretty respectable right there. You have other teachers that maybe they're stinking good at harmony. Let's see if they're as good as I am. But I don't know. Some teachers just want to punish their students physically, so they just have them play a lot of hard music with lots of octave jumps or multiple octave jumps, but octaves in one hand spanning an octave kind of thing or more, and poundy, fortissimo, accented stuff, Russian music basically. Some other stuff too, but hard, physically hard, taxing, long stuff. And they themselves are just beefcakes, maybe. Super strong forearms. Well, that's great, but still isn't quite everything. I mean, you have some teachers that are super into nuances and dynamics and the touch. So they're really, into their specific hand motions. But, so really nuancy, really graceful. It's very delicate. They can play very delicately. Great. Personally, I think that, again, I'm thinking of Lang Lang here. Like, you can do anything, I'm just like, whoa. But this is all just piano. I have so many other things I do. But, look. Pretty sure that what they saw on, my Take Lessons thing, whatever, is what they knew what to expect. I just hope that they kind of try to be for real with me. And I think they have been. But they're artsy folks. That's why I want to work with their son. I'd like to work more with them. So often as music teachers, we don't necessarily always work with the folks we most want to work with. Or, I don't know. So many things to mention there. But, there are times when you meet those kindred spirits, and such a good feeling anyway. But so many teachers, I don't know. So many teachers that work with beginners probably have times and just like, I am sick and tired of these nutty parents that think their kid is a prodigy, their little tyke. And I went to a lesson, and the kid had a toy piano, or another situation I've been in, the kid was just going ballistic, and I couldn't even, there's nothing I could do. The kid was just having a meltdown, or something else like that. It's like, why did I even come here? What was the point of all this? Well, the point of all this maybe was to have the parents realize, maybe their kid isn't quite ready for music lessons yet. But, it's like, it really sucks if it takes time out of your day. Hopefully you get paid. But no, I mean, like, I mean, there are those, not just women, but there are those folks that really, really just want to teach the little tykes. And maybe just the beginners. Maybe it's just the beginners. That's all I want to do is just beginners. Just beginners and intermediates. There's a guy who was his main instrument was piano, and he only wants to work with beginners and intermediates. I mean, seriously, man. Yes, there are people like that. Because he realized that one of his students was working on a Rachmaninoff piano concerto. Like, holy cow, I'm teaching this kid Rachmaninoff. What am I doing? Maybe he just felt like, I want people to know that at that level, that's beyond advanced. You're talking about semi-pro at least at that point. You're talking about, I would use more terms like professional at that point, because holy crap, Rachmaninoff piano concerto. That stuff is no joke. You have got to have your crap together when you play rock. You have got to know what the devil you're doing. Oh, wow. Now, it's not the hardest stuff out there, but it's pretty well known that some of the harder stuff out there. But I get it that some people these terms don't always mean the same thing to everybody. But if that guy, who I know very well, he's a member of my church, I have a ton of respect for him. If that can happen to him, it can certainly happen to me. I don't want to have to do that. But honestly, there's only one guy I've ever taught a trial lesson to that was even ready for that stuff. And I didn't end up teaching him when I knew he was beyond me on the piano. Everybody else, no, they've been definitely not as skilled as me. My top piano student is somewhat comfortably, not always, but somewhat comfortably less skilled than me. She can't read as well as me, but she can read pretty thinking well. In a few years, though, I'm going to be just fine with her moving on to somebody else, even if she hasn't surpassed my abilities. I'll know when she's surpassed my abilities. She hasn't, but there's so many things we're talking about here. Such a wide spectrum of abilities talking about music. So, I mean, that might not, I don't know. I just know what it's like to have teach a lesson like, oh crud, this kid is, well, have you considered playing with the Seattle Symphony? Yeah, but have you considered a piano competition? Like a well-known one. Yeah. Okay, that kid was Chinese. I'll go ahead and say it. But anyway. Yep, I'm getting a little short on time here. Might make another video. Feels good to be out and about here. I need to move. I've mentioned this many times before. I'll try to move at some point. Let's see here. I just hope I get the student. I really hope I do. I think I will. I think it'll be good to go. I think the parents just, maybe they want to hear me play more. I'm like, okay, where is Ben really at? I'm like, oh, believe me, I will show you. But if you want me to play something that I've actually practiced, then maybe you'll get a little bit better idea of what I can actually do when I actually practice something. That kind of train of thought. Come on. Jeez. I mean, how many different kinds of piano pieces are there out there? It's the one instrument that's just a Googleplex number of pieces. Oh yeah, I can just sight read anything you give me perfectly. I don't even have to practice it. Kind of thing. Like, come on now. We're all musicians. Your wife is a musician, like a pianist. I wouldn't expect other hornists to nail something right off the bat that they're less familiar with. There's so many other instruments. So many other instruments. It's more comfy that way, including my other instrument, horn. You just master these techniques. You master a dozen or so pieces. You know, you can teach. Piano is. Anyway. So, we'll see what happens. You know, I mean, I love working with the more advanced students. I just know that a lot of really stinking good pianists don't always teach them because a lot of reasons. It's not just old age for some of these guys. It's like, maybe I just don't want to deal with how hard it is. Maybe I'm just, I am at that level, but it takes a lot of effort. Not the patience that is required for the beginners. It's more the working on some serious fine-tuning of techniques. Seriously, that kind of level of teaching. Like, maybe I don't want to put that much effort into that kind of teaching. Like, that's why they don't want to teach the super advanced folks. But they themselves are certainly skilled enough to do that. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later. Take care. Bye.